Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with your boy GD. In this episode, you know what time it is. All-Star starters, guys, for the NBA. We'll talk about the starters. We'll talk about possible reserves and my predictions for each conference, the East and the West as well. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, it's your boy GD back with the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. And guys, it's that time of year. NBA All-Star. The starters have been named now, and we will talk all about it. Now, the way they do this is the way they determine who the starter is. It used to be just fan votes, but I guess they said it was too much of a popularity contest. So we are now going to add a different layer to it. It's now 50% fan votes, 25% player votes, 25% media votes. That's how you get your starters, guys. So with that said, let us start with the East. Here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'll give you the starters. From there, I'll give you the possible reserves, guys who could end up being reserves picked by the coaches. And then I'll give you my choices for the reserves. So we'll do it that way. So we'll start in the East. In the East, you have your three front court guys. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who ended up having the most votes of anyone in the East. And here's how his stats break down. I'll give you everybody's stats as well. 44 games he played, scoring 31 points, 11.7 rebounds, over 6 assists, well over a steal per game, and over a block per game. Shooting at 60.8% from the field, 66.4 from the free throw line. You know how he is from the free throw line. Giannis, your first front court starter for the All-Star game for the East. Next up, Joel Embiid, who's having a fantastic season once again, guys. He's played in 33 games, guys. And in those games, 36 points he's averaged, 11.4 rebounds, 5.8 assists. So he's nearing 6 assists per game, near 2 blocks per game, and over a steal per game for him. He's shooting it a shade under 54% from the field. 36.8% from 3, so you know he likes to launch from there every now and again. And nearly automatic at 88.3% from the free throw line. So Joel Embiid, well-deserved starter as always. Always in the MVP discussion. That's Joel Embiid for you. And then your third starter, Jayson Tatum, who, like I said, he's benefited from the fact that Kevin Durant was sent west, so he doesn't really have anybody blocking him now, and he's made it as a starter. 43 games he played in, 26.8 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, 4.3 assists, a steal per game for him. Shooting at nearly 47% from the field, 36.4 from 3, and then 81.3 from the free throw line. So Jayson Tatum getting his due in the front court for the East. And then you have the guard situation. First up, Tyrese Haliburton. Not really a surprise there. He's played in 34 games, guys. 23.6 points per game, over 4 rebounds. Leads the league with 12.6 assists and over a steal per game, guys. Shooting at 49.6 from the field, 40% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line. So Tyrese Haliburton, that show he put on during the in-season tournament, I think that got a lot of eyeballs on him and a lot of interest in him. So Tyrese Haliburton, your one starter at the guard position. And then, in a bit of controversy, Dame Lillard makes it as your other starter in the backcourt. He played in 43 games, 25.3 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, nearly 7 assists, and over a steal per game for him. Shooting it only 42.3% from the field, 34.5 from 3, and pretty much automatic at 92.2% from the free throw line. Dame makes it as the second starter, and a bit of controversy because Jalen Brunson was right there in the mix. He was high amongst the players' rankings. He was high amongst the media rankings. What did Jalen Brunson in? The fan voting, which why I talked about it ad nauseum about Knicks fans not voting for their guy. This was the year, guys. This was the year where you really should have stuffed the box for Jalen Brunson to be a starter. This was the year because of the volatility at the guard position. Of course, you could go for a guy like Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young. I think he came in third in voting. Knicks fans should have stuffed the boxes for Brunson. They did not do that. So they only have themselves to blame, guys, that Jalen Brunson is not a starter in this All-Star game. If they'd have had him at least come in about third or fourth, we wouldn't be having this discussion. He'd be a starter. So that's the bit of controversy there. But nonetheless, those are your 5 starters, guys. Now let's talk about the reserves. We'll start in Boston with Jaylen Brown. Here's how I'm going to do it, guys. I'm going to go in kind of the order of the teams in the conference in terms of records. So that's how it's going to go. So with that said, Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics played in 43 games, 22.6 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and over a steal per game for him. Shooting it from the field, over 49%, about 36% from 3, and then 71% over that from the free throw line. So Jaylen Brown, you can always make a case for him being an all-star. He's the number 2 guy on the best team in the league, so definitely he warrants consideration for that alone. Mind you, a front court player. That's how they have him listed. Next up, Tyrese Maxey from the Philadelphia 76ers. I've been talking about him, guys. He's played in 42 games, 25.7 points per game, 3.6 rebounds, 6.6 assists, and a steal per game for him. Shooting it close to 45% from the field, over 37% from 3, and well over 86% from the free throw line. Tyrese Maxey, who's having a great year with the absence of James Harden, of course, over there. So definitely having a all-star campaigns thus far. And then speaking of Jalen Brunson, I'll give you his numbers. Played in 44 games, 26.6 points per game, nearly 4 rebounds, 6.5 assists for him. Shooting at 48% from the field, guys, and 42.6 from 3, so he's draining them threes as well. And 83.5% from the free throw line. Jalen Brunson having a fantastic year for the surging Knicks right now. He's been the catalyst. He's been the engine that makes that team go. So Jalen Brunson having a all-star campaign. And then his teammate, Julius Randle, 46 games he's played in, averaging 24 points, over 9 rebounds, 5 assists. So this is pretty much par for the course with him. He's usually double-digit rebounds, but he's slightly under that. Shooting it over 47% from the field, above 31% from 3, and above 78% from the free throw line. Julius Randle having a solid year. I'll talk about him a little bit when I talk about the reserves. Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers, always a person worthy of all-star consideration. 34 games for him. He's averaging 27.7 points, 5.5 rebounds, over 6 assists, and nearly 2 steals per game for Cavaliers. Shooting it from the field, 46%, close to 35% from 3, and then 86.7% from the free throw line. So Donovan Mitchell, who's pretty much carrying that Cavaliers team because they've been dealing with a myriad of injuries. Then we move to Pascal Siakam. I know, guys, he just got traded. I understand, I get that. But if you look at his total numbers, this is how it shakes out. 44 games played, 5 of those with his new team, the Indiana Pacers. Over 22 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists, And as I told you, those numbers are slightly down because of the emergence of a Scotty Barnes. So some of his numbers suffered a bit because of that. He's shooting it from the field 52.7%, guys. Only 32.7% from three, although he's shooting the three very well for the Pacers right now. And then from the free throw line, 74.4% from the charity stripe. So Pascal Siakam, although he's shifting over, changing teams, definitely he has the numbers to at least consider him as an all-star. Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo. Guys, you hear me talk about him. 36 games he's played in, averaging 21 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, over 4 assists, and a block and a half per game. Shooting it from the field, over 50%, 78% from the free throw line. So Bam Adebayo having a solid year for those Miami Heat there. And then the other candidate, Jimmy Butler. But as I said, he's only played in 31 games, guys, which would be the lowest of anyone considered. He's also averaging 21 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and well over a steal per game for Butler. Shooting it 48.8% from the field, nearly 41% from three, although he does shoot a lot of threes, and 88% from the free throw line, so he's pretty much automatic from there. But again, I think what'll hurt him is the games played, because he's only played in 31 games. Paolo Banchero, I've been talking about him, guys. Played in 45 games, 22.6 points per game, 7 rebounds, nearly 5 assists for him, and a steal per game. He's shooting it nearly 45% from the field, though. 34.8 from three. He likes to hoist up threes as well. And just above 70% from the free throw line. Paolo Banchero having a very good sophomore year for the Orlando Magic, the surprising Orlando Magic at that. So he's one to consider. Then you go to the lower rung teams. Guys like DeMar DeRozan for the Chicago Bulls. He's played in 44 games, guys, averaging over 22 points per game, 4 rebounds, 5.4 assists, and above a steal per game for DeRozan. Shooting it only 46.6% from the field, which is kind of low for him. He doesn't shoot a lot of threes, guys, 34.4%. And then from the free throw line, 84.7% from there. DeMar DeRozan, team is kind of down, but he's having a solid year. Then we turn our attention to Mikal Bridges for the Brooklyn Nets. He's played in 45 games, guys. 21.7 points per game, over 5 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists, and a steal per game for the Nets. Shooting at 45.4% from the field, 36% from three, and nearly 83% from the free throw line. So if you were to think about a net going, he would probably be the prime one who will get consideration. And then the last team I'll talk about, the Atlanta Hawks. You got 2 guys you can make a case for. Of course, Trae Young. He's always in the discussion, guys. Played in 40 games, averaging 27 points per game, 3 rebounds, and second in the league in assists at 10.8 per game and 1.4 steals per game. Shooting it only 42.4% from the field, 36.8 from three, which is somewhat better for him, and then 86% from the free throw line. Trae Young, who was high amongst the fan votes, not so much amongst the player and the media votes, but a strong year, I gotta say that. And then his teammate, Dejounte Murray, 45 games for him, 21.4 points per game, 5 rebounds, above 5 assists, 1.3 steals for him. Shooting it nearly 47% from the field, 38.8% from three-point range, and 83% from the free throw line. So with that said, guys, I gave you all the possible reserves. Here's my choices for reserves. And here's how it breaks down, guys. You have to choose 2 guards, 3 front court, and 2 wild cards. And this is how I'm going to do it. For your guards, Jalen Brunson, of course, from the Knicks. Donovan Mitchell from the Cavaliers. Those are your 2 guards that I'm choosing. For the front court, Bam Adebayo, I think he makes it. Paolo Banchero, I think he makes it as well. And then Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics, I think possibly makes it. And then your wild card, here's how I'm going to play it, guys. I'll say Tyrese Maxey for the Philadelphia 76ers, and then Julius Randle for the Knicks. Now, the reason I put Julius Randle for the Knicks as a wild card, because I think if they play this smart, he just got an injury recently. I'll talk about that in another episode. But it seems like it may be serious. And if that's the case, guys, in the timetables where he can't make the All-Star game, you'll probably have to fill in his spot. If you put him in as a wild card, this gives you open room to go with either a guard or a front court person. And this would open the door for a guy like Trae Young to make the All-Star team. My other wild card person would be Trae Young if you were to replace Julius Randle on the All-Star team. So that's how I'm playing it, guys. So that is the reserves, I feel, for the East. Let us turn our attention to the West. The West All-Star starters will start in the front court. LeBron James, the leading vote getter amongst everyone. Everybody says, oh, how come he makes it? He's just the most popular player in the NBA, so you know everybody's voting for him. And he has the numbers, guys, so I don't even know why there's even a discussion. 42 games he's played in, averaging 25 points, 7.5 rebounds, 7.6 assists, and 1.3 steals. From the field, over 52%. From three, nearly 40%. And from the free throw line, just a shade under 75% from the free throw line. May I add, this is his 20th year in the league, and he's putting up these kind of numbers. So guys complain about it, you can miss me with that. LeBron James amongst the front court starters. Your other starter in the front court, Kevin Durant, and rightfully so. 38 games, 28.8 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 5.7 assists, and well above a block per game for him. Shooting it from the field, you know he's efficient, guys. Over 53%. 45.5% from three, you like that. That's outstanding. And then 87.3% from the free throw line for Kevin Durant, who's having a healthy year too, by the way. Definitely kudos to him. The Joker, Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets. 46 games played, 26.3 points per game, 12 rebounds, nearly 9 assists. So you know he's always flirting with a triple-double. Oh, by the way, he leads the league in that yet again. And above a steal per game. Shooting it over 59% from the field. That's fantastic. 36.6 from three and 81.5% from the free throw line for the Joker. So you have your three starters in the front court there. Let's talk about the backcourt. Starting with the leader amongst the guards, Luka Doncic, who's having a fantastic year. 39 games played, 34.4 points per game, 8.6 rebounds, 9.4 assists, and nearly a steal and a half per game for Luka. Shooting it from the field, just under 49% from the field, 37.5 from three, and then 77.6 from the free throw line. So Luka amongst your starters in the backcourt. And then your second starter in the backcourt, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Oklahoma City Thunder. 44 games played, above 31 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 6.4 assists, leading the league in steals at 2.3, shooting at 54.5% from the field. You know he's not the greatest three-point shooter, just above 33%, and pretty much automatic from the free throw line at 89%. Let me just say kudos to the Thunder fans because it was a matter of their voting that got him in. Otherwise, it would have been Steph Curry. He ranked number one amongst the players in terms of getting all-star votes, and he was number one amongst the media. What propelled him over the top was the fan voting, and he came in third. Shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder fan base for stuffing that ballot box and getting that man to start. Knicks fans, take note. When you want your guy to start in the All-Star game, this is the example. Oklahoma City Thunder showed up and showed out for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So kudos to them. So SGA is a starter in the All-Star game. Congratulations to him. His first time, by the way, starting. Now, let's talk about the reserves. And again, I'll do it the same as I did it in the East. We'll go by the records and we'll work our way down. So we'll start with Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, you can now submit him as making the case for him every year now. 43 games played, nearly 26 points per game, above 5 rebounds, well above 5 assists per game, and well above a steal per game for him. 46.3% from the field, 38.5% from 3, and nearly 84% from the free throw line. Anthony Edwards seems like it's a fait accompli, him making the All-Star team this year. And then his teammate, Karl Anthony Towns, who, guys, you cannot deny these numbers. 45 games, 22.6 points per game, 8.7 rebounds. So the rebounds are a little bit down. Well, you got Rudy Gobert next to you, so expect that. 3 assists for him. Shooting it from the field, guys, over 52%. 43.6 from 3, which is fantastic for a big man, and 87.8% from the free throw line. So you can make a strong case for Anthony Towns making it, guys. We'll leave it at that for the moment. Then we go to the Clippers. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Paul George, 42 games for him, 23.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. And well above a steal and a half per game for him. Shooting it from the field, 46.6%, nearly 42% from 3, you like that, and then over 91% from the free throw line. So you're talking a guy who goes up there, he makes it. And then his teammate, Kawhi Leonard, 40 games for him, which is, you gotta say, you take your hat off for that. The fact that he's playing in 40 games this season, guys. 23.6 points per game, above 6 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1.7 steals. So pretty good. 52.5% from the field, 44.8 from 3, very good, and over 88% from the free throw line. So both guys for the Clippers have a strong case here, guys. The person on the outside looking in, James Harden, who had to sacrifice. He did that, guys. He sacrificed some of his game coming over there, and it has paid off dividends for the Clippers. You got to say that. So far, so good for James Harden in that regard, but no all-star recognition this year. So we move on. We'll go to Denver right quick. Jamal Murray, who did miss a bunch of games. He played in 33 games, guys. Just a shade under 21 points per game. Just under 4 rebounds, 6.5 assists for him. Shooting at 47.5% from the field, 41.5% from 3, 85.3 from the free throw line. So definitely worthy, but I think he'll probably be on the outside looking in because of the games played and the competition as well, which is pretty steep here. Then we move to the Sacramento Kings, guys. Of course, you always have the 2 guys in the running. De'Aaron Fox, who's sensational, 38 games for him, 27.7 points per game, 4 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 1.6 steals for him. Shooting it just under 47% from the field, 38.8 from 3, and 73% from the charity stripe. And then his teammate Domantas Sabonis, 44 games, guys. Just under 20 points per game. He leads the league in rebounding, 12.7 rebounds, 8 assists as well, which is great. 61.4% from the field, fantastic. 44% from 3, and just 68% from the free throw line. But nonetheless, strong numbers for him as well. Of course, the Kings with 2 guys to consider. Moving on to Phoenix, Devin Booker. Every year, you can make a case for this guy. 36 games played, 28.2 points per game, nearly 5 rebounds, nearly 7.5 assists for him. shooting it just a shade under 50% from the field, 38.8 from 3, 88.3 from the free throw line. So Devin Booker, strong candidate, very strong. New Orleans Pelicans, you can make a slight case for two guys over there. Zion Williamson playing in 37 games, which is a lot for him. You take that. Scoring just under 22 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 4.7 assists. Shooting it from the field, nearly 59%, guys, from the field. Wow. And then 66.4% from the free throw line, which leaves a little bit to be desired. And his teammate Brandon Ingram, 42 games played for him, 21.3 points per game, nearly 5 rebounds, 5.6 assists for him. Shooting it just under 49% from the field, above 36% from 3, and over 80% from the free throw line. So both those guys there for a team that, it's kind of in the running there amongst playoff teams. And then we move along. Kyrie Irving for the Dallas Mavericks. I think he falls under it. He only has 27 games played. That's pretty low, averaging over 25 per game for him. Over 5 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 1.3 steals. Shooting it from the field, just under 48%, above 41% from 3, and then 89.5% from the free throw line. But a tough year for Irving with the fact that, again, so little games and the competition. And probably their standing as well. They're kind of on the outside looking in terms of the playoff, be amongst the top 6. So you bear that in mind. Then we move on to the Lakers. Anthony Davis. A lot of people say he should have been the starter instead of LeBron. I don't see him getting more votes than LeBron, that's for sure. But he's having a fantastic year, guys. He's played in 45 games, guys. That's an eye-opener. Averaging 25 points per game, over 12 rebounds, 3.7 assists, over a steal per game, and 2.4 blocks for him. Very important. 55.5% from the field, 80.8 from the free throw line for Anthony Davis. Definitely making himself a strong case to be an all-star. Then we'll go to the teams that are on the outside of the playoff race. It's about 4 candidates here. Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz, 37 games for him, averaging 24 points, 8.8 rebounds, and just under 2 assists. Averaging a little bit under 50% from the field, above 40% from 3, and 87.3 from the free throw line. So pretty much the same numbers he had last year when he made the All-Star team. But the competition is much tougher this year, guys. So it's going to be rough for him. Alperen Sengun, who's having a fine season over there for the Houston Rockets. 45 games he's played in. 21.7 points per game. Over 9 rebounds. 5 assists. Well over a steal per game for him. Over 54% from the field. Over 72% from the free throw line. Alperen Sengun. A guy who you can make a case for most improved player as well, guys. You can put him in the mix too in that regard. But having a very good year, guys, for a Houston team that's kind of, like I said, on the outside looking in. Then we go to Golden State. Steph Curry, since he missed out on being a starter, here's his numbers. 40 games, 27.3 points per game, over 4 rebounds, 5 assists for him. Shooting it nearly 45% from the field, over 40% from 3. That's his MO. And then nearly 93% from the free throw line. So he's a bucket from the free throw line, guys. So Steph Curry, when all is said and done, he'll probably make it. And then the last candidate I'll mention is Victor Wembanyama. Although he's playing for the last place in the West, San Antonio Spurs. Played in 40 games, guys. 20.5 points per game. Over 10 rebounds. Over 3 assists. Over a steal per game. And above 3 blocks per game for him. 46.5% from the field, which could be better. But again, I point to better guard play. Guys who can get him the ball where he needs it the most. 30.5% from three. I think he needs to cut down on those. And 80% from the free throw line for Victor Wembanyama, who will be in the Rising Stars game, don't get me wrong. But his chances of making the big game, I don't see it. Although he has some solid numbers to back that up. So with that said, guys, here are my reserves for the West. Like I said, the formula is 2 guards, 3 front court guys, and then 2 wild cards. So my 2 backcourt guys, Steph Curry, of course, you have to include him. Devin Booker, you have to include him as well. So that's my 2 guys in the backcourt. In the front court, this was hard, guys. I gotta say this was hard. But I'm going to go with Anthony Davis of the Lakers, Paul George of the Clippers, and Kawhi Leonard of the Clippers. So you get 2 Clippers in, guys. And then your wild card, this is the one I really wrestled with, guys. But you have to have somebody from Minnesota. I think it'll be Anthony Edwards. I think he'll be the lone rep. And then you probably have to include a Sacramento King as well. And then I went De'Aaron Fox. So you got Curry, Booker, AD, Paul George, Kawhi, Anthony Edwards, and De'Aaron Fox. So, guys, we'll see how it shakes out. We'll hear about that. Actually, it should be this coming week. We'll get to find out who the reserves are. And we'll see how accurate I am. I did pretty good last year and the year before. So, see if I can bat 1,000 on these ones here. Alright guys, so that is it for this episode. I just want to do this special episode for the All-Star starters and my prediction on the reserve. Alright guys, so that's going to do it for me. Week 14 wrap up coming up real soon. Alright guys, thanks as always for your listenership. Always appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Take care. Hello my peeps. Thank you for listening and supporting the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. You can find us on our website, allthingsbasketballwithgd.com. You can also email us at thatsportsdudegd@gmail.com. Also listen and watch us on YouTube, All Things Basketball GD. Hit the like button when you see our videos. Also write a blurb about our show. You can listen to us on all podcast platforms, including Spotify and Apple. Leave a review for us at Apple. On the website, you can support us by hitting the Buy Me a Coffee button, support on Anchor button, or donate on PayPal. You can also support us by our Cash App, GD That Sports Dude. Once again, I thank you for listening and supporting the show, and do take care.